Hello, you've reached PRS, the Preternatural Research Society. Please leave a message after the beep.
3 o'clock in the morning, PRS receives a call from a distressed woman. She fears that a recent tragic loss has made her vulnerable to the dead tenants inhabiting her centuries-old home. PRS is on the case immediately.
Oh, it's very busy up here.
I'm trembling, just like an earthquake.
I'm walking his path, is what it is.
Just could feel the color drain right out of my face, and
Oh my God, it's like hidden.
this place is an epicenter for Baptist revivals.
It clearly sounds like a voice to the team.
Oh man, it's like strong. I'm being observed.
I get the feeling like, ow, something's pulling my hair.
That gave me the clarity. This is somebody.
They are touching me.
It was his book. Okay.
What happened in this house?
Oh my God. There's something here.
Each week, the Preternatural Research Society, a seasoned team of renowned psychics and historical researchers, has an urgent mission. Over the course of a 3-day investigation, they must scientifically uncover paranormal threats, remove unwanted spirits, and return a home to its rightful owners.
Everything you're about to see is real. All events take place over the course of a weekend. The psychics and the investigators have no prior knowledge to the specifics of the case.
Well, ladies, we're almost there, it looks like. Marlborough, New York.
Daryl Mitzen is an occult specialist and PRS team leader.
Supposedly, whatever's been going on in this house has been going on for quite a while, and the family is quite disturbed, let's just say.
Our best thing is to get in there, find out what it is.
Jane Doherty is a published author with more than 25 years' experience as a professional psychic.
Teach them how to live with it, or if we can get rid of it for them.
I really don't think that I'm crazy.
I won't sleep here, and I won't stay in any room by myself.
I felt something like wrap around my arm one time. It was like cold, and I was like, wow.
I feel like this is their space. I stay out of it.
Michelle Troncalli has lived alone in this enormous 150-year-old house for 18 years. Her grandparents purchased the property set on a large apple orchard in 1920. Michelle has always noticed ghostly activity, but recently it has increased dramatically. The house is vast, but she is afraid to venture beyond 4 small rooms on the 2nd floor.
I feel like I live alone on my floor, but I just feel like there's other people above me. That's their part of the house. I keep the stairwell closed. There's actually 4 nice-sized bedrooms up there, but I have no intention of ever fixing it because I'm very uncomfortable up there.
Terrified of her own home, Michelle's fears have intensified since the death of her dog.
It was a 120-pound Rottweiler, and he was very intimidating looking. I always thought he scared them away, and he always slept in the room with me. And he died 3 months ago, and when he died, one of the first thoughts that I had was, they're gonna come back now. 3 times now the banister has shook. I was sitting on this couch and the banister started shaking. It sounded like somebody grabbed it and was just shaking it violently. And I wouldn't leave the couch. I just could feel the color drain right out of my face, and it was just kind of creepy because I always thought they stay upstairs. They don't come downstairs. But they do come downstairs.
Now, you let me know if I'm not doing it right, Michelle.
Michelle's mother, Angie, lived in this house for the first 6 years of her marriage. Though skeptical about the existence of ghosts, she is worried about her daughter.
Now, since Diesel died, you think that the ghosts have come down to the 2nd floor because he's not here anymore?
Yeah.
Hello. When I first talked to Michelle, she had mentioned that she had had a Rottweiler and she felt that he was keeping the spirits up on the 3rd floor of the house. This is a very scary moment for her. Not only has she lost her protector, but now she feels that there's invaders in her home. How are you, Daryl?
Hi, Farah. How are you? There are lots of vibrations all around us.
Farah Yurdozu is a worldwide expert on ghosts and UFOs and a best-selling Turkish author.
This is a very, very crowded house. This is a very crowded family.
Michelle, thank you for inviting us.
Come on up onto the porch and we'll all like sit and get to know each other a little.
Are you hungry?
A little.
Michelle's family has come together for the investigation and to share their experiences with PRS.
As you remember, I told you on the phone that
The team gathers first impressions. No specifics of the haunting will be revealed until the psychics have walked through the home.
everyone else will stay outside.
Susan P.A. is a psychic healer and energy work specialist.
So I moved there and then moved back later.
Farah believes that Michelle is a magnet for the ghosts.
She is very sensitive. I'm sure she's experiencing lots of paranormal things because she's very open. In fact, wherever she goes, she will wake up the ghost activity very easily. What is your horoscope?
We're both Gemini.
Both Gemini and you are twins.
Michelle's twin niece and nephew, Jacqueline and Zach, are terrified of their aunt's house.
And do you believe in spirits, ghosts, that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
You have kids that are excited and a little bit scared about ghosts, that have this twin connection, that might have some ability. I definitely want to involve them with what we do this weekend. I do believe you told me there was going to be a non-believer here this weekend?
Yes, there is.
Who's that going to be?
My mom, Angelina.
Do you believe in psychic ability? Have you ever, or?
No, I never.
I don't disbelieve my daughter when she tells all these stories, but I don't believe it either. When I lived here, I never heard anything.
Like the doubting Thomas in the Bible.
Right.
I had to see to believe.
Sensing urgency, PRS gets to work. While his team prepares the scientific equipment, Daryl interviews Michelle and her family about the hauntings.
Michelle, when was your house built?
In 1850s.
The 1850s?
Yeah.
Okay. When was the first time the phenomena occurred in the 18 years you've been here? Do you remember?
When I first moved in.
Michelle believes the activity is located on the 3rd floor.
Over the years, heard quite a few things. You know, banging on the ceiling, the banister shaking, the door pushing open and the chain lock hitting.
Michelle is so terrified of the 3rd floor that she keeps it blocked off with a plywood door.
Sleep unless this door is closed.
Visibly frightened, she makes a rare foray into the foreboding space.
I think someone who at one point lived in this house stayed in this house. Every night this door is closed. I don't go to bed without that door closed.
The mysteries of the house have always troubled her.
There was no kitchen in the house, there was no bathrooms, it was all just rooms.
Michelle's mother, Angie, has heard many stories about the unusual layout of the house.
It was a nursing home, and that's why all the rooms up on the 3rd floor have numbers on them. The rooms were used for patients.
Whoever once lived on the 3rd floor, Michelle is certain they have stayed.
There's always cold spots in this room. You would hear things slamming on the floor, and you could actually feel something touch you sometimes.
She has her own suspicions about what has stirred the ghosts.
We had come up here and used the upstairs for Halloween parties. And every room had a bed and a dresser. So we took the beds apart and put them in the closets. That night, I heard something slam on the floor like something fell. I think that somebody was very upset that I took the beds apart. I think that somebody had been sleeping in them. From then on, it was getting worse and worse. They said they're mad. Whoever it was mad.
PRS has been called in to investigate the 150-year-old home of Michelle Troncali. She is experiencing intense paranormal activity and is afraid to enter the 3rd floor of her own house.
I was sitting on this couch and the banister started shaking.
Michelle often hears loud, unexplained noises and senses that she is not alone.
And you can actually feel something touch you sometimes.
What happened in this house? It seems to me there's a lot of history to this house, and there's a lot of mystery.
The first step in the investigation is to locate the ghost who forced Michelle to live in just 4 small rooms of the enormous house.
First, I want to start with stairs.
Farah begins her psychic walkthrough in the foyer. Jacqueline and Zach volunteer to accompany her.
It's very heavy,
None of the psychics have been told the specifics of the family's experiences.
as if hundreds of people use this stairway.
Based on what Michelle has told him, Daryl has the psychics focus on the 3rd floor.
It's busy up here.
It's very busy up here.
All 3 immediately sense strong paranormal
I
energy
am pins and needles right now. Pins and needles.
and are bombarded with impressions.
Oh boy.
They are
boy.
overwhelmed by the sheer amount of spirit activity lurking in these upstairs rooms.
Oh, man.
The most haunted room I have ever seen.
I'm feeling as though I'm hearing footsteps. People stayed here.
When we were eating, I was looking at the rooms. I saw a couple of faces were looking at me from the windows.
But I certainly get a sense of looking out the window and watching for something.
Michelle confirms the psychic's impressions.
I always get the feeling that somebody's watching me out this window.
In this room there was a man. He was an old gentleman. He created his own world in this room.
I'm slowing down.
I'm like sinking down. Like
Yeah,
I'm being pushed
I'm
smaller
yeah.
and smaller
Yeah.
as I walk.
Yeah, see?
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
going.
That's exactly how I'm feeling.
My logical mind wants to say this is an old man that's crippled over.
Farah and Susan both sense a strong male presence, that of an ailing old man.
This is...
Somebody.
Definitely a man then, right? Old
Yeah.
man?
I'm smelling like smoke, cigar, or a pipe.
It is very difficult to deal with all the energies here.
It's like I keep hearing footsteps. It's activity. I am so out of kilter.
Farah ascends into the widow's peak at the very top of the 3-story home.
A male ghost generally prefers here in this point.
Is this pervasive male presence just one ghost or multiple spirits? Working her way down to the 2nd floor, Farah is drawn into Michelle's bedroom.
What a crowded room. Oh, they are touching me. In fact, they are pulling my hair. They don't like me here.
When I first moved in, at night, I would get the feeling that something was pulling my hair. You get the feeling like, ow, something's pulling my hair. And I, at first, was like, am I crazy? But it kept happening. And I was cleaning, I was vacuuming underneath my bed, and this ball of hair came out from under the bed.
Yeah, the energy here is very thick. I feel like I could just collapse. I also feel like I'm being observed. Okay?
I get that feeling a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of times in this house, you feel like somebody's watching you, but then you turn around, there's no one there.
And I feel that this is a man. He may just have a little bit of hair on the top of his head, and he feels thin to me.
Clearly seeing an image of a man. And I'm walking, and it feels like I've got boots on, definitely in a different time period.
All of the psychics are sensing the old man. Is this spirit following them through the house?
This looks interesting.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to show you.
Jane's curiosity is piqued by an old book on Michelle's desk.
This is really something.
That was found in one of the rooms downstairs.
Collection of the Christian weekly newspapers from 1885.
Could this book be a clue to the identity of the spirits haunting Michelle?
Wow.
Believing that they've covered the entire house,
Oh my God.
Jane discovers an unusual door hidden at the back of an unexplored closet.
It's like hidden. It's unbelievable.
That part used to be my aunt's bedroom over there. It was my grandmother's and my aunt's.
Yeah, it feels like you were really stepping in different time periods.
It's just like the other side.
This is incredible.
It's just not comfortable over there. I just feel like it's not mine. You get the feeling that someone's there. I don't like it over there.
A psychic energy force physically pulls Jane into one of the hidden bedrooms on the other side of the house.
Oh, man.
You afraid, Jane, or you're picking something up?
No, I'm not sure I want to go any further.
Non-believer Angie is intrigued by Jane's experiences during the walkthrough.
I mean, you've been hesitating. You were holding on to the door.
Yeah, because I'm feeling, I'm not here. I'm not me. This is weird. This is a room I'm going to want to come back and sit in. Because it's just pulling me.
Drained by the intense psychic activity in Michelle's house, the team heads for bed and a few short hours of much-needed sleep. Hoping to experience something during the night, Daryl and Jane decide to brave the third floor.
They added walls and walls down, and that's what I was feeling, these walls. Cheers.
I felt something.
On you or on that?
I felt like something right behind me.
It is day 2 of the PRS investigation of Michelle Troncali's home. It was a short night for the team, but a busy one for the restless spirits. Surveillance cameras captured the paranormal activity.
I was talking to Daryl, and I saw a shadow on the wall. And then I felt something right behind me. Jumped, turned around, and nothing was there. I felt something. I felt like something right behind me.
In the PRS mobile lab, Daryl analyzes hours of surveillance. He makes a startling discovery.
So I remember laying there and I heard it sounded like a very loud noise to me. I remember hearing that and thinking, wait a minute, I don't think I imagined that. When I review the tape, it ends up the noise is on the tape. So it wasn't in my head. It was an external noise. Play it one more time, and it's a loud noise. It's louder than, her snoring. It's louder than anything else going on. It sounds like something was being pushed around in the room, something pushed or shoved in the room.
I think that by staying up here, we've stirred them up a little bit.
Michelle is anxious to know who is haunting her house. So far, PRS has identified one distinct spirit, that of an old man.
My logical mind wants to say this is an old man that's crippled over. He was bald, with the exception of hair at the very top of his head.
Illustrator Trevor McCarthy is called in to sketch Susan's impressions of the ghost.
What did you get from him? What kind of feeling did you get?
It was curiosity and concern.
Susan, Jane, and Farah all sense the spirit of the old man, but they can't explain their impressions that hundreds of ghosts have inhabited the house over the decades.
Hundreds of people use this stairway.
Farah feels that the spirits desperately want to tell their stories. She hears something on the surveillance tape. She asks Daryl to analyze it.
After I went to bed, the first pops, the strange sounds, knocking on the doors started. So it was a really open message from them. They didn't scare me, but they made very clear their existence around me.
In order to determine who is haunting Michelle's home, PRS focuses on the mystery of the third floor. Why are the doors numbered? Was this house once a nursing home? Or is there some other explanation for the strange architecture?
They had heard that this house had been a nursing home at one time.
Hoping that the history of the house will provide answers, Daryl calls in PRS researchers Kenny Roginski and Emily Snyder.
Do we have anything on that, what this house had been at one time?
We're not really definite right now. We're going to be meeting with two of the descendants of one of the former owners of the house.
I mean, we know that there were doctors that owned the house, but they weren't doctors in the medical sense. They were doctors of divinity.
Okay, so that's more, it's a religious-based degree. It's not like they were treating patients or something.
There's certainly possibilities that they could have taken people in.
We meet with the descendants, we'll be able to put the pieces of the puzzle, I think, better together.
Yeah.
And connect the dots.
This is what, room 6?
The rest of the team turns its attention to the scientific investigation.
Okay.
They attempt to capture EVPs, electronic voice phenomena.
Please come here and speak with us. This is an EVP in room number 7.
They're hoping to record the words of the dead, normally beyond the range of human hearing.
We need you to talk to us.
Jane must return to the other side of Michelle's house. She heads to the strange hidden room where powerful spirit energy froze her in her tracks earlier.
As soon as I get here, it like puts me into a state.
She needs to know who or what is pulling her there. Hoping for answers from the other side, she enters into a trance.
I don't know who. Josephine, Joe, Giuseppe. I do feel that there is also someone who is one of the original owner to the house. It seems like there's something he wants to show me. That gave me the clarity. There's something here. It's to determine what it is he's trying to lead me to.
Midway through day 2 of the investigation, PRS has identified the spirit of an ailing old man.
In this room there was a man.
He may just have a little bit of hair on the top of his head.
Is this spirit a former member of the Troncali family, a previous homeowner, or perhaps someone who once stayed in the house?
There's something here.
Jane has encountered a second spirit, a man with a message for her.
It's to determine what it is he's trying to lead me to.
Hoping for solid leads to the identities of the ghosts, researchers Kenny and Emily meet with the grandsons of Reverend Leighton Williams.
That's a picture of Leighton.
A former owner of the house.
This was their summer residence.
This was their summer residence. They still lived in New York City.
Did your father ever tell you about the revivals that the Williams would conduct and...
Oh yeah, that was a real big thing at the time up here.
Bill and Addison lead them to an amazing discovery on a hilltop that overlooks the Troncali farm.
I think it's just so great that a church that was going to be knocked down was saved.
The Amity Chapel.
This church originally was in New York City.
In the early 1900s, the small chapel was rescued from destruction. It was physically moved upstate from New York City. Reverend Williams' father was the first pastor of Amity Chapel, and his mother arranged for the long trek, bringing it near their summer home in the Hudson Valley.
From there, they had wagons and sleds, and the whole community helped the Williamses erect the church.
Unbelievable.
Back at the house, Jane leads Michelle down to the basement. She is on a psychic mission.
Oh my God.
She is determined to learn what the spirit in the bedroom so desperately wants her to know.
I'm getting a man.
But she is not prepared for what she finds.
He's got suspenders on. This is a man with a pipe.
My grandfather. That's what my mom had told me. Papa always had a pipe.
I've got a really good image of him.
PRS is now almost certain that the spirit of the old man is the Troncali family patriarch, Giuseppe.
Sure, there still isn't here. He's up in the dining room.
Michelle is alarmed to learn that the ghost of her grandfather may be trapped in the house.
He's still present.
Is he a tortured soul? She cannot imagine why he has not moved on to the afterlife.
Over these past 18 years,
Sensing Michelle's distress, Daryl calls an emergency team meeting.
in order to really understand these spirits and help them, we need to know what their situation was when they were here. I think what we need to do is get in there and spend some time in these rooms trying to commune and trying to see what the spirits say, both psychically, as we're sitting there, and on video or EVP.
Seeking hard data, the team and the family launch a scientific assault on the spirits and ghosts of the third floor.
I wanted to kind of involve you all in what we're doing, and we also feel that the energy of the family is going to help some things to show themselves.
In groups, they move through the rooms, taking pictures and recording EVPs. Or just sitting alone in silence.
This is the room?
Yeah, that's the room right there.
Right there.
Jane remains obsessed with the spirit of the man in the bedroom. He is trying to show her something. Once again, she feels that mystifying psychic pull.
It's still with me.
This time, it draws her out into the expansive Truncali farmland.
Very strongly.
There's a church up at the top of the hill. Still feel it?
Oh yeah, I still feel it. I think it has something to do with what was here before. I'm walking his path, is what it is. He's led me to an area that's important to him. I don't think this has anything to do with your relatives. So there's got to be something at that church.
As day 2 of the investigation winds down, PRS still has more questions than answers about who or what is haunting Michelle.
This is the house as it looked in 1905.
Kenny and Emily have found the missing pieces to the puzzle.
The Williams family goes back to 1864 in the area.
Kenny describes the history of the Amity Chapel.
Since they already had property here, they purchased the chapel and they had it moved here and assembled just right up the street.
Jane is now certain that Reverend Leighton Williams is the spirit who is trying to tell her something.
They were a pillar of the community. This place was an epicenter for Baptist revivals, and this was a housing center.
He is leading her on a spiritual journey.
I'm walking his path. I don't think this has anything to do with your relatives, so there's got to be something at that church.
She will not be at ease until she discovers the message that the Reverend is trying to give her.
And from there, we have the Truncali family.
The Truncalis purchased the property from Reverend Williams in 1920.
Jane had picked up Joe, Josephine,
and Giuseppe.
Josephine, Joe, Giuseppe. Yeah, Giuseppe was my father-in-law who bought the place. Josephine is his wife, and Josephine is his daughter.
Hoping for another historical match, Daryl shows the family Trevor's illustrations of the old man that all the psychics sensed.
This was someone that I saw in the dining room, kitchen area, and I feel that this is a man.
Could that be Giuseppe?
I think he did have suspenders.
Angie confirms that the other spirit is Michelle's grandfather, Giuseppe.
And he smoked a pipe.
I'm smelling like smoke, cigar, or a pipe.
Exhausted, the team and the family prepare for sleep. Jane retires to the room where the Reverend communicated with her. Daryl invites Michelle and Zach to sleep up on the 3rd floor. Something Michelle vowed she would never do.
I don't plan on ever sleeping up here.
She has been petrified of the 3rd floor for the entire 18 years she's lived here. As the final day of the investigation begins, PRS has identified 2 spirits, both tied to the 150-year-old house.
This is a man with a pipe.
My grandfather.
Giuseppe Truncali, Michelle's grandfather, who bought the property in 1920, and the Reverend Leighton Williams, who purchased the house in 1911.
This place was an epicenter for Baptist revivals.
Daryl must now analyze hours of recorded data collected during the investigation.
I had sent Farah to the bedrooms on the unused apartment side, and she was doing some EVPs.
I want to communicate with you. I was asking questions on the tape to the ghosts. Give us a message. One of the ghosts answers me, speaking very, very clearly, and repeats the same word 3 times.
The digital camera and 2 video cameras have all captured the same voice speaking the same words.
What it sounds like is somebody saying communicate, communicating, communicate 3 times. That was the first. The middle one is the loudest.
Daryl uses specialized equipment to filter and amplify the words of the dead. He continues the data analysis. Jane is still haunted by the message Reverend Williams is trying to give her.
About where were we last night?
Along with Michelle and Zach, she retraces her steps from the night before.
From here and gone.
The Reverend's path leads them to Amity Chapel.
It's amazing because when you look at it, you could see how it's like a direct path to your house now.
There are moments last night in the historical presentation I just wanted to cry when I realized that church and the significance, that piece by piece he brought it here from New York City. He wanted to walk that path again.
Once inside, Jane is drawn to a plaque at the back of the chapel.
You know the book that I have at my house? It's dated 1885, April 1st, 1885.
Jane and Michelle are convinced that the old book she found in the house, a collection of Christian newspapers from 1885, once belonged to Reverend Williams.
It was his book. Absolutely had to be his. Okay.
Apparently, he was such a big figure, all the retreats and everything that was here, and yet he's a forgotten figure now. He's definitely looking for some recognition.
There needs to be some sort of a acknowledgement about your house being a retreat, that he was there.
The message from Reverend Williams has finally been delivered.
You could just imagine how he must have felt that the rumor was like a nursing home. That was bothering him. That could be the whole reason we came up here.
As you know,
back at the Troncalli farm, Daryl invites the family into the PRS mobile lab to review the scientific evidence gathered during the investigation.
And I heard what I thought was a loud noise, which I wasn't sure if my mind was playing tricks on me, so I watched the tape again, and I found out that the sound did indeed happen. It's very loud compared to Jane's snoring, which you'll hear on the tape. It's coming up now. Okay, so I'll replay that. Nobody was up there at all. It's definitely loud enough for me to wonder what the heck that was. This following one, we had a video camera in as Farah was sleeping in her room.
Daryl has analyzed the sound Farah discovered on the tape, and the result is surprising.
And it clearly sounds like a voice to the team. I believe it says Farah, so I'm gonna actually start the tape right here, so you'll hear your 2 clicking noises, and then you'll hear the voice.
It does sound like saying their name.
And it's clear, a lot of EVPs, as you'll hear some later, they're whispers. You get whispers, you get noises, but this one sounds like it was somebody. This other one is Jane in room number 7 upstairs.
Something he's afraid of, and why he doesn't want to go. What are you afraid of?
Jane is talking about a spirit that she's trying to communicate with, and it says who? As if, who are you talking about? I'm not dead, almost.
Something he's afraid of, and why he doesn't want to go.
He's afraid, he doesn't want to go. Who? You know, it's kind of like incredulousness. Who?
Something he's afraid of, and why he doesn't want to go. I want to go. I want to go.
And here's something that's communicating with us and is answering in response to her. The final one I'm going to play for you was kind of hard to hear. It is Farah.
I want to communicate with you.
And we believe that it says communicate, communicating, communicate.
Give us a message.
That was one there. Second one. And the third one. I did amplify it just a bit so we could hear it a little bit better.
I could hear that pretty good. Yeah. I heard it.
She asked her for a message and she said communicate, so it said communicate, communicating, communicate. So, I mean, how does that make you feel so far, hearing what we found over there?
Like I'm not crazy. Do you believe it?
I'm hearing it.
That's not the question.
She wants to see it, though.
Yeah, she did say see to believe, but how is hear to believe? Is that a good compromise?
Getting there.
The PRS team has identified two distinct spirits: Giuseppe Troncalli, Michelle's grandfather, who bought the house in 1920, and Reverend Leighton Williams, who owned the house in the early 1900s. PRS must now initiate the final phase of their investigation:
Okay, let's all join hands.
a seance to release the restless spirits into the afterlife and bring peace to the home.
We ask spirits of the house, anybody here to communicate with us? We're asking, oh, something just touched my arm.
Cold is on my thumb.
We can feel you. We want you to communicate.
Somebody's shaking me.
Okay.
I'm trembling, just like an earthquake.
Okay. Just let it build. There's something going on.
Alzheimer's, something?
Alzheimer's? Yes, my father-in-law had Alzheimer's.
Okay, that's why I'm shaking.
Oh man, it's like strong. Okay.
I'm trembling, just like an earthquake.
A strong spirit emerges during the seance, a confused ghost who suffered from Alzheimer's in life.
Alzheimer's? Yes, my father-in-law had Alzheimer's.
I'm hearing, you can't help me, I can't be helped. And this is relating to the condition that they had in life, that there was nothing that anybody could do.
I feel dizzying and weird.
Infirmed.
A shocking secret about family patriarch Giuseppe is revealed.
My father-in-law was in a psych hospital before he died. That's where he died. He became violent towards my mother-in-law, and they put him in the state hospital. And as soon as his son came to see him, he died the next day.
And this is the Giuseppe?
Yes, this
that
is Giuseppe.
The name I had gotten.
The top of my knees are aching.
He's sitting on you.
Really?
Keep saying, you can't help me, you can't help me.
You were very loving towards him. In that violence, did he slap somebody? Was he having to be tied
He hit
down?
her over the head with a milk bottle.
Who did he hit?
His wife. They called the police, but then I calmed him down.
He knew even in that moment of that violence that you were the one that stuck up for him.
Right.
And he needs to come and say that to you. I want you to come up because it feels as though he wants to hug you. Okay? Okay. You were always kind and loving, and he wants you to know that.
With Jane's help, non-believer Angie releases the tormented spirit of her father-in-law, Giuseppe.
My knees feel better. Oh.
Wow. Okay.
But suddenly, yet another spirit makes its presence known.
I'm beginning to move around. I'm beginning to rock.
I feel like I want to rise.
Yes.
Pushing it back on me.
I'm leaning forward.
Okay, okay.
I'm going forward.
All right, that's okay, that's good. All right.
Going forward.
Just hold on. What's happening now is I feel we've got the Reverend here.
Pushing me.
Yeah. It's very strong.
The seance takes an astonishing turn. The powerful spirit of Reverend Williams is felt by everyone.
It's okay. What's happening is, oh my God, there's energy coming through. All right. I've got a smile on my face. The Reverend is very happy by bringing healing energy to us. Oh, wow. Oh, my God. Unbelievable.
They are all physically touched by his strong presence.
And while this energy is still here, I think that we can mentally send the energy throughout the house. What a beautiful man. It's a gift. I think we all need to hug.
If there's ever time for a group hug,
Yeah.
I think this is it.
Okay. Love you guys. This has been beautiful.
Thank you.
I was thinking that we would need to cleanse the house. I have a feeling that
I think that was just done.
After the seance, Michelle feels her home has been transformed.
The upstairs feels so different now. And I think that the rooms on the second floor also, that I think I'm gonna actually use those rooms now.
Not many people suddenly realize, wow, I have about 6 extra bedrooms, a widow's peak, and a bathroom in my house. That's a pretty good deal, I think, for a weekend.
Yeah.
You never know. It's not as scary, and I'm not afraid to walk through the rooms.
The house is a lot less creepy. I have trouble coming around a little more often.
Thank you very much for everything.
And for non-believer Angie, a personal transformation.
Tonight experience was unbelievable. I really loved, I loved Papa, and to think that I was the one that helped him to cross over. It makes me feel really great. So how could you not believe after an experience like that?
You guys take care.
When we came on Friday night, it looked like a place that you didn't want to stay at, a place you didn't want to go into. And to end on this high note is just amazing.
Since you were here, it's been very quiet in the house. I haven't heard anything. I've been working on changing some of the rooms and using the rooms that I wasn't using before. This is the closet that I used to keep just as a closet. Now I'm using it as a hallway. And this is the bedroom that was my grandparents'. And as you can see, I changed it a little bit. It has a totally different feeling to it now.
Boy, this is really nice, really, really nice. I like bright and airy.
I've been actually working on one room at a time. I did the bathroom because I've been using that every day. And then I did this room. So the next one would be the one on the other side of the hall, which I wanted to make a computer room. It's nice to have the extra space. Not really afraid of the third floor. I don't know, I still do have a little uneasy feeling at night. To go up there during the day doesn't bother me, but at night I still don't really like going up there.
Well, after you left, I made a trip by myself. I wanted to go by myself to the cemetery. And I went to my father-in-law and mother-in-law and sister-in-law's grave. But I especially wanted to talk to my father-in-law. And I told him how happy that I was, that he thought that much of me, that he wanted to hang around and just thank me for the kindness that I showed him.
It does have a different feeling to it in the house. It's a lighter feeling. It's better, much better.